The novel Little Women follows the lives of four sisters, Meg, Jo, Beth, and Amy March, showing their passage from childhood to womanhood, and the book is actually based on the author and her sisters. The main character, this is the second oldest, her name is Josephine March. She prefers to go by the name Jo. She's the tomboy out of all the four sisters. Her behavior is often most unladylike. She swears a lot, burns her dress while warming herself at the fire, and she spills things on her glove. Her father refers to her as his son Joe, and her best friend also calls her my dear fellow. Jo loves to read and write. She actually writes short stories for her sisters to perform. She also writes stories that eventually will get published. She's strong and willful young woman, struggling to subdue her strong personality. She has a hot temper that often leads her into trouble. She imitates the authors Dickens, Shakespeare, and Scott whenever she's not doing chores. She has a best friend named Theodore, but he goes by Lori. He is actually their neighbor, and he also has the same love for literacy as she does. They write plays together. They talk about authors, and they just compare things. She actually falls in love with him, and he falls in love with her too. He proposes, but she turns him down and vows that she won't get married. She thinks it will break up her family and her special bond with her sisters. Her family thinks they'll end up together, even though she turned him down. So she couldn't stand seeing him every day, and she ended up moving to New York, where she was pursuing a literacy career. Jo was working alongside of Frederick Baer. He was her German professor. He also had published books, and he enjoyed writing. She didn't know it, but she ended up falling in love with him, and that's where she stopped her writing career and ended up marrying Professor Baer. They had two sons, and Rob and Teddy. She knew that Lori could never actually be hers. Baer had all the qualities that Lori didn't. He lacked warmth, he lacked intimacy, and a tender capacity for expressing his affection. Baer was way older than her, so she felt like he had all the qualities that she needed in a husband and a father to her kids. She also went to New York to follow her career in literacy, but she ended up staying there and living in New York. She barely got to see her family and spend time with her sisters. While she was away in New York, one of her sisters ended up getting sick and passing away. So her vow that she gave actually came true. Her special bond with her sisters had broken up because she didn't get to spend as much time with them as she did before. Her sisters were her main priority, and they weren't after she got married. So that did end up coming true. Lori, her best friend Lori, ended up marrying one of her sisters. He married Beth. He ended up marrying her baby sister Beth. And they ended up having children. And Meg ended up getting married also and having children. So Jo, she equally displays good and bad traits. She's a very unusual woman for the 19th century. Her bad traits, rebellious anger, and outspoken ways don't make her unappealing. They just suggest her humanity. She's equal to everyone else, and she's just as human as we are. And I don't think she thought she could portray that whenever she was helping her mom and being strong for them while her father was away. So just showing that she did fall in love and she did get married just shows that she is a human and that she does have feelings like everyone else. She focused her life after she got married mostly on her children and making sure she was a good mother for them. She actually kept in touch with Lori, who she did secretly still love. And she just lived a life that she never thought she would live. She became a female in the 19th century. Okay,